Hello, wonderful people of the internet. Welcome back to another episode of Leos Labs. Let me turn down the music a little bit on my end. I didn't realize it was that loud. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So my general assumption is that if you're here right now, you probably know a little bit about what this project is, who I am, all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably not going to introduce too much of what we're doing until someone asks the question, hey, what are you doing with your life? In which case I'll answer it in the chat. Hey, Amras, how are you? And anyone else who might be lurking in chat, hey, thanks for being here. So let me introduce what we're doing just very briefly. And again, we'll do it in more detail when people do ask. So open up a new terminal, Zernal PP. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, the title for today is Becoming a Fractal, right? How exactly are we going to do that? Well, it all starts with an iterative function system, which we've talked about before. And essentially what we can do is we can recreate something known as a fractal flame. So let me go ahead and show you what those look like. CD projects, flamify, mirage, check.png. Okay, again, I'm not going to go so far into the details because it's not relevant for this particular stream. This one's kind of setting the foundations for stuff that we will do later. But essentially, you can create these really cool patterns by combining a bunch of equations together. And then what you're going to do, and then what we want to do is basically create a bunch of weird patterns like these here that very closely approximate images. So we want to create an image, turn that into a set of equations, and then recreate that image via the fractal flame method, which is what's used to create these images here. By doing that, we've essentially compressed the image into a semi-analytical form, i.e. a set of equations, and go from there. Okay, so how does this go and bleed into what we're doing today? Well, in order to create these images, we basically get millions upon millions of points, all of which are binned or put into individual little pixels. That act of putting them into a pixel, i.e. putting them into an image, is called binning, but is also the same thing as histogramming. So what we're doing today is trying to figure out a way to create a histogram fast on the GPU. Now, to do that, we have to make use of shared memory, and unfortunately yesterday we found a bug in kernel abstractions which basically made it so we could not use shared memory, at least not with the hardware that we have right now and several other features. So today, we're actually just digging really deeply into kernel abstractions, and even though yes, the end goal is to become a fractal and work on all of that, today's stream is going to be tangentially related because we need to work on basically getting the underlying libraries to work. Okay, so what's the fish animation? The fish animation is just something I put on screen. It's called Ask Aquarium. Here, Ask Aquarium. I don't know, I don't like the animation, so I just have it playing sometimes when I don't have anything else to put on in the background. So I've been having it on when I start stream and stuff like that. Let me move some things around, and then we're just going to start attacking the problem and explaining where we got to yesterday. I'm good. I won't stick around very long though. I have lab session at 2. Yeah, do what you need to do. I mean, obviously, like, you're not bound to be here, but I really appreciate that you are here. Okay, so there is a lot to talk about that happened yesterday off of stream that I don't really know how to introduce. So first things first, yesterday we were running into some very weird bugs that I didn't know at all how to solve. So let me go ahead and show you one of those. Project Simuleos, histograms, yes. CD project, Simuleos, histograms. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into VI minimal working example.jl, and I'm going to remove this line in here, write this, and I'm just going to run Julia, and I'm going to include this file. This should produce an error in like maybe a minute after precompile time, and I'm going to explain what's happening with this error, and then I'm going to explain how we fixed the error last night, and then I'm going to explain that it's actually not one, but 2 errors put together that I don't have a solution for. So that's where we're at right now. We fixed one issue, but obviously there's more than that. So here's the error. Let me make sure this is the one I was looking for. Oh, this actually isn't the one I was looking for. This is a separate one entirely. But I guess we can go ahead and go here then. Let me do ST really quick. We are using, oh, right, because we're using CUDA kernels from my local branch. Okay, that makes sense. So that's why it's fixed. How do I go back on that? How do I return? Let me just do remove CUDA kernels. Okay, now let's do add CUDA kernels. Is that going to work? Maybe not. It might not work. So the way kernel abstractions works is you have kernel abstractions, the base library, and then you have CUDA kernels and like a bunch of other things inbuilt in it. Hey Gibbous, how are you? I've been playing Homestuck Ace Attorney game, and when I get done with that, I'll learn some JavaScript so I can contribute to an open source project. Super cool. It's been a while since I've seen you on stream. I hope you're doing okay. ST here. Okay, so now we're using the older version of CUDA kernels. Let me try running it again so I can reproduce the last error that we had yesterday. And then I'll explain how what we did fixed it, and then we're gonna start talking about the error that we just showed. I didn't want to like spoil anything, you know, like we kind of got ahead of ourselves there. As much as you can spoil something for you know, code development and stuff. I was thinking a little bit also. You know, I've been trying to increase my stream stamina, like I said before, just kind of like do longer streams if I could. This is also not the right error. Okay, let's try reloading kernel abstractions. Okay, and now we're gonna do add kernel abstractions. And let me see if I can get at least the error that we had last time, yesterday, up and running before going from there. I've been doing all right. I've been reading lots of Homestuck, and my sleep schedule being weird. Yeah, you told me about Homestuck last time you were here. I'm surprised I guess there's just a lot to read. I didn't realize that it was that long that you could keep reading for what has been maybe a week since the last time we talked. Okay, let me run this. Hopefully we'll get the error that we had yesterday. Maybe not, because again, the most recent change was actually merged into kernel abstraction, so I might not be able to replicate the error, but at the very least I will show you what caused it in the first place, and how to fix this one, and just a bunch of different things. So I've been reading it for a solid month now. There's a lot of it to read. Oh, that's totally fair. I mean, yeah, okay, fine, fair enough. So this is not the error message we were getting yesterday. Let me go ahead and show you the PR that fixed that. So let's go to files changed. Literally all it was let me see if I can explain this properly. So the way kernel abstractions works is you write some sort of code that is then basically rewritten via a program called cassette for either the GPU or CPU. And when we say GPU, it can be either AMD or CUDA. The CUDA underlying API changed so that the shared memory procedure is slightly different than it used to be. So because of that, we basically just had to rewrite the kernel abstractions rewrite procedure so that it had the right call. That was it. That was all we had to do to fix one error. Now, as you noticed, we still have another error to fix, and this one is a bit harder to define. So let me go here and let me explain. What I'm going to do is change it so this is commented out. Right. This n is equal to n32 is going to be commented out. So I'm going to control D, and I'm going to run Julia again. I'm going to include minimum working example.jl and see what we have. I'm almost halfway done. Oh, I am halfway done now at least. That's fair. To be fair, I'm surprised that you can read this comic for that long. But, you know, I've definitely had those days where I found like a manga online and I've like wasted, you know, quite a few hours reading it. So, you know, you said the other day that Homestuck is like, you said the Ulysses or something of the internet. So it's totally fair that you'd be reading it for that long. Fortuitous Lover, hey, how are you? Let me get a little bit of water and let's see if we get an error. I don't think we do in this case. And so then I'm going to go through the error and explain what's happening, because it's kind of convoluted what's happening in this case right now. Yes, okay, see, we have 2 past tests, right? But it just failed. What was the line that I removed? This one, right here, n is equal to int32 of TID. Do you want to know what this error is caused by? Let me go huge and let me scroll up. This error is caused by a call to convert an integer from an int64 to an int32. But it actually gets worse. It's actually an error that occurs anytime you use any type of non-GPU specific function on the code. So supposedly what should happen is you run a function, it's converted into a GPU form, and then it works normally, right? But unfortunately, right now in kernel abstractions, that functionality is broken. So what was happening yesterday is we were confounding 2 errors. One was the shared memory error, which has now been fixed, but the other was the error just converting everything to int32 when it's naturally int64 in the Julia ecosystem. So what's happening here is it's calling JLF tuple, JL get field, all this kind of weird stuff specifically when we're going to int 32. So I also looked at this minimum working example here and noticed that, they have a similar error. In fact, the same error, JLF tuple, JL get field, but they're actually calling a different function here. So instead of calling the toInt64 function, they're calling, I think, just a base convert function, or seal or something like that. So anyway, the point is, this is actually a much more difficult error to kind of tackle, but I did want to look at it today and see if we can make any progress. Someone ran some stats. It's 800k words plus 4 hours of animation. Oh, animation, cool. Hey Rsub, how are you? I'm currently trying to write bubble sort and write a proof of its correctness. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that you could program it in COQ. What is COQ? Oh, Fortuitous Lover, you said that. I'm learning COQ, which is a dependently typed functional language. What is COQ? Stats. Yeah, I'll take a look. Why not? Okay, but anyway, guys, today we're really going to be tackling this kernel abstractions issue, because the histogram algorithm that I wanted to implement is kind of sort of necessary. It's kind of necessary to have it on a 32-bit, 32-bit register or whatever. Sorry, it's basically a language to write math proofs in. Oh, interesting. I've just started learning it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, people brought it up actually on stream the other day, and I completely forgot about it. Okay, right, so this is just Homestuck. Visualizations. What? Oh, this is this is fair. If people are into something, interesting. It's crazy that there's such an ecosystem around this, but, then again, there's an ecosystem around everything, right? Okay, so how are we going to start this? Let me go over here. Let me open up a few more terminals, because I feel like that's the best way to do this. And we're just going to kind of pick at it for maybe an hour or so before doing some algorithm archive PRs and then picking at it again. Going back to a discussion I just had and then I quit halfway through. I'm so sorry. I'm really scattered right now. I mentioned that I'm going to be trying to increase my stream stamina a bit, do kind of longer streams if possible. I've been wondering if maybe one way to do that would be to do something that is a little bit less mind consuming, brain consuming. What am I trying to say? That uses a little bit less of my mind share is what I'm trying to say. And one clear way to do that would be with, potentially playing a game or something like that. I'm always hesitant to do games on streams, because anytime I play games, I just get really existential about it, because I start realizing how much I don't like playing. But on the other hand, maybe it could be fun. So I don't know. I've been thinking about that as well, and I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not. In the sense that I don't know how one could program it in COQ rather than just math and related stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at the error message. So the error message here basically gives us a, it says, JLF tuple, then it says, we have a problem with the overdub, which is the process of taking code and turning it into GPU or CPU code. And then it says throw an exact error, which basically means that there's an error with, the exact number of arguments, I believe. So no, not exact number of arguments. It doesn't know which function to call on the CPU. So it doesn't know if it should be calling one function or another function. And specifically what we're reading in here is a symbol, which I think is a symbolic representation of the function call, type int32 and int64. So this is the type we're converting to, and this is the type that we're from. Yeah, I just don't want to pronounce it that way. It's a full-fledged programming language. Also, I don't know how useful it would be for something like networking or other real-world things, though. That's fair. Anyway, gotta go. See Amras. Have a wonderful time in lab. Hopefully, we'll see you around later. Yeah, we'll see how long we go for today. I really do want to tackle this bug. It's one of those things that I think could help a lot of people, and I'm just generally happy to work on it, So that's kind of what I want to do today. I just want to figure out what this error is and work on it from there. So, right, we have inexact error, which means it doesn't know what function to call, I think. I need to double check exactly what that means, but I think it means that, there are two functions that could be used and it doesn't know which one. Then we have all the stuff to overdub, to int32, which is a function we're calling, overdub, int32, overdub, macro expansion of minimum working example line 11. And if you look at line 11 here, it is this line here, which is the one that we expected to catch things. Then it says overdub here, macros.jl 80. So we go to macros.jl80, and it gives us this function here, which is function transform GPU. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Maybe not that big. There we go. And this is the function I think we'll be trying to figure out today. I'm going to be picking at it, trying to figure out how it works and all this kind of stuff. And again, to catch people up who may not be following the kernel abstraction saga, trying to get this minimum working example to work, all that kind of stuff, essentially the way kernel abstractions works is it allows for you to write one single kernel that executes on the CPU and different GPU architectures, right? So what we're doing here is we're taking what people are writing, i.e. some random function, and we're converting it into something that can be read by CUDA, by AMD GPU, whatever. And so this process here is taking a function and transforming it into a GPU function. It's having trouble with this line here. I don't fully understand how this line here is related to the rest of the function, but we'll see. I will say that if I do end up doing I don't know, I'm kind of still 50-50 on whether I should do a gaming stream. I've got some things I actually would be interested in doing. Like I'd be interested in playing Digimon World, I'd be interested in playing Guild Wars, but I don't know, maybe I should just not do that. We'll see. Anyway, so here's the overall function. I gotta be honest, I was looking at this just before stream this morning. I was also looking at this last night a little bit. It is a bit of code that I don't fully understand. And so I'm not exactly sure what we want to do, but I'm going to try to find like a minimum working example of this bug, which I think I already have, and to see what else catches it, right? So obviously we know that, this stuff will catch the error as well, but I'm not sure if it's the seal function or the convert function, or if it's any function in general that will catch this error. So let me check. And they said test line 5. Which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me take a look at their minimum working example as well, and see what we can do. Also, they called it a minimum failing example, which is more correct. I call all of my bug reproducer scripts minimum working examples, but in actuality, I think probably minimum failing example is correct, MFE instead of MWE. So we're going to run test.jl, which is what I have for their minimum working example, or minimum failing example, as it were. So test.jl, go over here, and we're just going to run Julia, include, should be like a test.jl here. And let's take a look at their error. So what I'm looking for here is to see if it errors on line 1, 2, 3, 4, here. Yes, it should. I'm just double checking to make sure it does. So, and we're going to go from there. Again, if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, anything like that, feel free to let me know. And yeah, I'll totally address it as soon as I see it in chat. Yeah. Okay, so here's the error. And again, it should be on line 5, just double checking. Yeah, it's on test.jl line 5. So it's not only going to be the convert function, which is what we're doing with the 2int64 thing, or 2int32 in the other code, but it's also going to be in pretty much any call that's not properly defined on the GPU. I think we could create our own seal kernel, like you would in C++ or something, but at the same time, let's see if we can attack this from a different angle. So here it's giving us the same line numbers and everything. It says macros.jl line 80, macros.jl line 80. It's giving us some weird errors here, like overdub.jl line 0, which doesn't make very much sense considering Julia starts counting at 1. And then there's all this other stuff that makes me worried that we won't be able to solve the problem no matter how deep we go into the infrastructure, because it does make a lot of calls to the GPU compiler and all of that kind of stuff, which, to be fair, should be specifically in kernel abstractions. But let's just see how it goes. Okay, so let me see if I can just find this error anywhere and see what we can get. And we're just gonna, again, slowly but surely pick at this bug. Like I said before, I'm actually not entirely like positive that, this is going to be like a super engaging, interesting stream for everyone to watch, but it's going to be useful. And, kind of part of the whole idea of streaming your research is that, you see the very interesting days, like, hey, today we're actually going to get an algorithm implemented, and the days where you're kind of just scratching your head trying to figure out why this thing is broken. So let's see what we have here. This is on Julia 1.2, today's version of all. Let's see, can we see a full backtrace? Sure. Okay, so let me check to make sure this is the same error that we're getting. And it looks like it is an error in 1 second. Macro expansion, CUDA. Ooh, this is a really annoying text box, isn't it? And we're looking for something like line 80 or something. Driver 28. Maybe if I make this bigger, it'll be a bit easier to see. No, that didn't help at all. Okay, we're looking for JL run tests 20. Up a bit. No, this is actually fundamentally a different error. But is it relying on kernel abstractions is my question. It is not. Okay, so for what it's worth, I also get a warning message when using differential equations GPU, which complains about incremental compilation not working. Glad to see it's working. Let's see. I also tried to copy and paste the code in differential equations at gpu.jl runtest into REPL, except for the fact that I have to manually install ordinary differential equations. Right. Glad to see it's working. I'm not sure what the error you're getting is. It seems hard to track down if we can't get a way to reproduce it. I'm just double checking to see what they're saying. So I'm gonna like kind of scroll down a little bit further here. Open an issue for that. And this is, where's the issue? Oh no. I was hoping they'd at least give me a link to the issue. Also, this is from September 2019. I'm specifically looking for JLF tuple. Right, so what my guess is that, let me go back to the lines of code here. Where is it? Ah, here it is. My guess is that this particular guy reads in some sort of arguments for a function, and then the function itself. And that is kind of, the reason I think that is because this says def args here, which seems to make sense for me, to signify that this is some sort of function, and this is, again, a set of arguments for that function. So I think the reason we're triggering these two specific errors is because of JLF tuple, which is going to be a combination of the function call and the set of arguments. And then the next error that we're calling is JL get field, which is the act of like grabbing a field from a location in memory, which also kind of makes sense here. So like if we're trying to change an array value or something like that. Also, guys, there was just a knock on my door. I'm going to be right back. Sorry about that. I need to double check to make sure. I'm supposed to be getting a package today or tomorrow, so this might be that package. Give me just 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah, so there wasn't anyone there. There was absolutely no one there, which is like super weird. Usually there's like someone at the door, like, here's your package or something. But yeah, no one. So I'm not sure exactly what that was about. Maybe they were trying to get to a neighbor's door or something, and I don't know. Anyway, give me just a second. Okay, so yes, we're trying to figure out this error. Again, I'm gonna try to read through this code, figure out how it works, and go from there. So transform GPU. I think it's taking a function. I think it's taking a set of arguments for that function. And this just says the easy case is to transform the function for GPU execution and to mark constant arguments by applying constify. All right, so we say let constant arguments is going to be equal to expr this. So this is creating an expression for each of the variables that we're going to work on. It says for I arg in enumerate def arguments. So this means, you know what I should do? I should find a way to just call this one function. So what we see down here is it's failing here on the evaluation, on the evaluation of the body. Did you check outside? Yeah, I did. I literally like opened the door and then opened the door to the door. It's a weird setup. And I looked outside. There wasn't anyone there. So I mean, if they somehow got into the apartment complex, right? And there's like a door like keeping them outside of the apartment complex. So they somehow got in if they were able to knock on my door. So it must have been like a landlord or something. I'm not really sure. I have 11.5k channel points. What should I do? I have absolutely no idea. I genuinely don't know what to do with people's channel points. And yeah, if I did know, I would have like a, I mean, I was thinking like I could do, I don't know. Like, so back when we did the workout at the top of the hour, I made it so you could increase and decrease the difficulty of the workout. I mean, we could make it so you could spend channel points on, we can make it so you could spend channel points on like some sort of user reward, right? You live inside Docker. But what kind of rewards would you guys be looking at for the channel points, or to make me do something on stream? Like I've seen other people use channel points to like, you know, like if you get 15,000 channel points, you can make the person like, you know, play a game of your choice or something like that. Or maybe that's 200,000 channel points for that one. I don't remember. But the point is like, if you get a certain number of channel points, it kind of would force like them to do something, right? And so I was like, well, what could we do? I mean, I could like change the text, change the terminal font color, or change or something, you know, like I could do something silly. I'm not really sure. Just something to spend, you know, points on, you know. Or like it could be that like, I was thinking like for 200,000 points or something, which is way too many, obviously too many, like clearly way too many. Let's say like 15,000 points, and I don't know. I have to code blind for an hour, which basically just means I have black text on a black background, so I can't see anything that I'm doing, or something like that, you know. Again, I haven't really figured everything out yet, but if you guys have ideas for like things to do with channel points, just feel free to like either mention it here or mention it in like the stream chat on Discord or something like that. Okay. So, I think what I want to do, so we have body is equal to quote, and then we say if valid index context, and then we evaluate body, and then we end, and then we return nothing. So blind coding was fun last time we did it. Honestly, I really enjoyed blind coding. It was a lot of fun. I would love to do it again. It's just, I have this thing where like, again, I'm so worried about getting like, you know, good content out on my YouTube channel that like whenever I do stuff like that and I feel like I can't really turn it into a video in the end, I get kind of like, I don't know, I feel like, that was a waste of time, but I did enjoy doing it. It's the same as like gaming streams. It's like, you know, the thing is in the time, usually when playing the game, I'll enjoy it a bit, but then afterwards I feel awful, you know, that type of thing. So the blind coding was actually quite fun. And so if we made it like a regular thing that just happens when you send enough channel points, I don't know. I've seen streamers have actions like hydrate, stand, and sit. Well, I can't really do stand and sit. Again, we had the workout thing that we did, where we did, what was it? We had the workout, where we'd like increase and decrease the difficulty of the next set or shuffle the set, all this kind of stuff. And I could add that back in. I'm planning to add that back in sometime soon. It's just I haven't quite got the setup yet for that, being that I just haven't got the setup yet for it. I'm so sorry. Like I've got the mat down. I have the other stuff over here. Like I'm half done. I just haven't had the mind share to put everything together. Okay. Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing with these errors, we don't really need to tell Leos to hydrate. Oh man, I drink way too much water. Like, just, I know I drink too much water. I get it. Like, it's one of those things. But also, like, there isn't very much airflow down here. And so, like, I do sweat a bit too much, actually. Like, I'm probably too much information. But I'm just slightly sweating whenever I'm streaming because the GPU is hot because it's doing encoding for the stream. And I don't know. It's an open case. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The point is, I'm trying to justify myself in the amount of water that I drink, but I know it's not justifiable. Like, I'll go swim. I would drink a full liter of water, which means a full kilogram, and I will not gain any weight. And the reason being, I've also sweat out a kilogram of water, Or maybe code review for 150k points. Wait, what is code review? Okay, what we could do is we could have channel points, and anytime you spend like a certain number of channel points, it's like, look at my PR. Like, that's what you spend the channel points on. I know it's really sad that we've gotten to this level of algorithm archive review and stuff like that, but it's like you send the channel points and then you say, hashtag, whatever number the PR is. And it's like you force a review on that PR. Like, that's what you do. I know it's sad because we should be doing those reviews anyway. But like, maybe that's what we get to. Maybe it's just like, okay, we could do blind coding. We could do, code review. We could do, or like explain a basic concept. Oftentimes I try to explain everything to the best of my ability, but if you want like a more detailed explanation of a particular topic, maybe, 1,000 points or something for that would make a lot of sense. So people could just say, hey, I've been watching for the last hour or two, which I don't know how much, I guess it takes a few hours to get 1,000 points. Yeah, actually, yeah, definitely. So maybe 500 points or something, because that's like a follow and then, I think an hour of watching or something like that, or maybe 2 hours of watching, I think. And then we could say, hey, could you explain, I don't know, how GPUs work, or what's a superfluid, or any of this kind of stuff, just like any topic that I've said a bunch and maybe I haven't been giving a good description of because, well, I just haven't. Maybe like 500 points for that would make a lot of sense. Yeah, that actually might not be a bad idea. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to read this. In fact, let me write all that down in the stream chat while I'm here. He was sleepy. So everyone's been doing this E thing, and I've been secretly giving people who have been the first to write E a badge on Discord that's the first to E. So there's been 2 people that have gotten it, Cosmic47 and then Amaras, and anyone else who's the first to type E after the stream goes live, I'm like, yo, I'll also give you the title. It doesn't matter. Like, it's a completely useless title to have, but I thought it was kind of funny. Okay, ideas for channel points. I'm just gonna write it down here. 1, what do I want to do here? Oh, come on. Just wear sunglasses for 2 seconds. Just wear sunglasses. Come on. Okay, so ideas for channel points. 1 is blind coding. 2 is to force review on a PR/issue. 3 is going to be, what was the third one? Oh, thoroughly explain a piece of jargon. Just kind of writing those down, and we'll add more as we get to them. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can figure out where this JLF tuple is, and see if we can figure out why we're getting a unsupported call to it. In particular, I think we have seal overdub, macro expansion. Oh, wait a minute. This is a different error than what we were getting when I was running it. Okay, so invalid IR error. Compiling kernel my GPU my ceiling. Sorry, cassette context. Okay, so this is just for the CUDA context with kernel abstractions. It says kernel abstractions.var, pass type 257, nothing, cassette.disable hooks, type of GPU my ceiling. Oh gosh, kernel abstractions, it's very difficult to read. Unsupported call to Julia runtime, call to JLF tuple. What else do we have here? Overdub 636. I mean, maybe we do look at cassette overdub 636. I don't think we need to. I think it's actually before that we're running into the error. So it's seal here. of type int64 float32. Interesting. So let me take a look at their code here. Seal of int. Is this also a convert issue? Because you're converting something of type float32 into int64. Let me try catching this with some other function. So seal and convert both do things. So what happens if I change seal here? So it doesn't do a convert. It actually does float32. Oh. Okay, so we're going to run that again. Control D, Julia, include test.jl, and see what we can do. This should still break because this second kernel should still break, but it should give us a different line number that it's breaking on, I think. In which case, we know that the issue is specifically with the conversion of one type onto another type. That would be the issue. And I think to double check that, let's see if this convert here catches anything. Okay, again, we got the error, which is expected. Let's go up. Unsupported dynamic function invocation call. What? That wasn't what I was expecting at all. Unsupported dynamic function invocation call. Call to seal. Uh-oh. Is this... Oh, it's still calling macros.jl line 80. That is a way different error than I was anticipating. What if we try... What other functions could potentially catch this? Product? Maybe? Let's try product or something. No. Let's just yank, paste, grab this guy, comment that out, and let me see if we can find something else to catch this. So we know seal and convert both catch it. I think the reason... I don't know why seal catches it. I don't know if it should be catching it or not. Let me go check this guy's... This is a Tulio error. We'll check the Tulio error as well. I want to make sure this is the same error as found in the other... In fact, let's check this now. So this is going to be another test, but this one's using Tulio, which I don't have installed, but we'll install it and just make sure that it's actually the same error. We're going to change this back to int, so it's what it was before. Okay, I think I have test2 here. Oh, no, I don't. Test2.jl. Open this, paste that there. Right and quit, go over here, and let's just add Tulio. I've never used Tulio before. A lot of people say it's pretty good, but I haven't used it. Again, probably should have, but I didn't. All right, let me get some water. Okay, and let's just go ahead and include test2. Control D, Julia, include test2.jl. Again, this one also gives an error, and I just want to make sure it's a replica or it's a duplicate of the other issue as well. And if it is a duplicate, then I'm going to mark it in the PR just so we know it's the same error. And you know, in fact, I might actually show the error message as well, and just be like, hey, here's the actual error message. It's almost the same as the other one, as in it's an error with a call to JLF, blah, 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 and go from there. I'm sorry, guys. Like, sometimes, you know, when it comes to this type of work, yeah, you just end up... Yes, so it's an unsupported call to JL get field, JL tuple. Great. Okay, so these seem to be the same errors in, so I'm going to go ahead and mention that here as well. So this is 8 days ago, 254, and the other one was here, which is 265. And I guess I'll just say here, I guess in 265, or 254, I'm going to say, again, like in 265, maybe I shouldn't mention this, but I mean, I'm just writing it down as I go along. This has a similar error message with an unsupported call. Let me just copy it. Call to the JL F tuple. And JL get field here. And, you know, like I said before, I'm not intending for today's stream to be like the most engaging and amazing content you've ever seen on Twitch. I do understand that it's going to be a bit hard and in the weeds and all this kind of stuff. I used to not want to show this kind of stuff on stream, which again was why I closed stream yesterday and I decided not to show that here. But I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's important to show this type of stuff now as well. So if this particular stream is kind of like, maybe not up your alley, that's totally fine. Maybe, also take a look at, or maybe come back tomorrow or maybe later even today while we're working on other things. Like I said, I'm considering even just doing a little bit of gaming today as a way to just, slowly but surely start increasing my stream stamina. Because like, again, yesterday after 3 hours of doing programming, man, I was just shot. It's so hard to keep my mind focused on something for that long. And even though, I'm able to do it, it's usually interspersed with like a little bit of working out in the middle or something like that. Full error message here. All right, and let's just go ahead and paste the whole thing here. Let's just go here and make this small, tiny, full screen it. Grab this error. Oh, that's a much longer error than I thought it was. Okay, what if we make it unreadable? That is unreadable. Tiny. All right, we'll just grab this error message here. Paste it over here. Oh, Control Z. Try it again. Error here. And I'm going to go down to that line. And then we're going to keep going down a little bit and grab the rest of it. Here. I find it interesting to see how other people solve problems when they get stuck and hear their thought processes. Yeah, so I think that's generally true as well. Like, when I started watching people on Twitch, again, I've mentioned this before, I'm not super into gaming, so I don't tend to watch too many gaming streamers. But, I do actually really enjoy watching other types of streamers. Kit Boga, I really like watching Kit Boga. Several art streamers I really enjoy watching. And at the time, like programming streams, the thing I really liked about programming streams was just watching people get work done. There's something about just like seeing them work that's just kind of motivating. It's like, hey, this person's doing something interesting. I want to do something interesting as well, And so that's why I do think it is important to show this kind of stuff. Even if, viewership's declining, whatever. My viewership's declining, whether or not I show this stuff. So it doesn't matter. It's better to have a stream than not have a stream, So that was my whole point with this. I get super angsty when it comes to like like viewership and all that kind of stuff, because I am genuinely trying to make Leos Labs an open lab that has community support and all this kind of stuff. But like part of that is being as open as possible, and being open as possible means showing some of the sticky stuff. You got to show the sticky stuff, otherwise it really isn't as open as it could be. Just like in 265, 1 second. This has an unsupported call to Julia runtime and jail get field. Noita could be a good game as it's programmatic a bit. What is Noita? I've never heard of it before. Let's do comment. My friend is going to hate me for this so much. I'm unnecessarily just adding information here that, like, look, I do understand that probably not super helpful for a lot of people, but, this way people don't have to compile it themselves. It's just helping a little bit, So I'm just double checking and kind of dotting the T's and stuff like that. Let me take a look at Noita. Noita. Interesting. Oh, that looks fun. Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah. Yeah, it looks quite nice. Is this one of those games where like everything's like a particle? So like the entire thing is like a particle system. So you can just destroy things and like they splat all over the place and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it looks really good. I might leave that over here in the case we actually do end up doing that later. Let me pause the game there. I was also thinking Shenzhen IO. Yeah, let's take a look there. I was thinking of just doing some wine building, guys. Like, I know that sounds really boring. I know it is boring, but also, like, you know, Guild Wars 2 just released a DX11 client, and I kind of want to do some performance testing. I don't know why. I don't really like playing Guild Wars 2 that much, but you know, when it comes to like checking my FPS, big fan of that one. Yeah, this looks actually quite fun. So what is this? Build circuits, write code, read the manual. Ooh, this is just programming. I'm also gonna move that over there. If we do some gaming, let's see what we can think about. Okay, so we know that both errors are basically the same. Let me double check. I'm gonna make this default size. Make it, yeah. Oh, okay. Let's try that again. Make this that size. And then I'm gonna make it huge. And we're just gonna see if there's anything to be had about this. So it is a call to seal, actually, of int32 float32. So this is the same call as before. Interesting. Is of course calling macros 80. But what's interesting is that this particular issue can happen on any convert. But is it okay? My question is this just a convert? Is this just a convert that it breaks on? Like if you're converting from int32 to float64 or something like that, is that what's going to break it? Or is it something more fundamental? And that's what I don't know. My gut is to kind of look at JLF tuple a little bit and see if there's maybe something going wrong there, like maybe the API changed recently or something like that. These issues started coming up maybe 20 days ago or something. So, oh, actually, let's see how old this issue is. It is May 19th. Cal. Just open up a calendar. 1 second. Make this huge. Cal 2021. It is currently October 21st. So this actually has been broken in kernel abstractions since here, at least. So it's not going to be so easy to pin down exactly what the issue is, which isn't great. Okay. Type converting round functions seal here. So let's see if there's actually an issue with sometimes CUDA.jl. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, this is it. Okay, perfect. CUDA.jl won't work with calls to rounding functions that perform conversion to integer types. Let me try this without kernel abstractions. And let me try this specifically with CUDA instead of kernel abstractions. So this guy up here is another test, and let me run that test. And let's modify this test. Let's go into vi test3.jl. All right, because if this is a problem with CUDA, then this is going to be a bit easier to solve, I think. Okay, so there's a CUDA test. We have function main at kernel function ka. So I'm just going to ignore all of this down here, and we're just going to run the CUDA. Because that'll give us something that we can actually work on. So CUDA.cu ran float32 1. CUDA.zeros. So then we're saying f of x is equal to seal of int32. And then we're doing function q, and we're saying y of 1 is equal to f of x of 1, where x is just a random set, and we're returning nothing. And then we're going to do at CUDA q. Where is, oh, here's f. I see. Okay, so I see what's happening here. So let's go ahead and run test3 d, and we're going to run Julia, and we're going to run include test3.jl. Right. Up at the very top there. Write this, go here, one more time. And let's see what error this gives us. The fact that 254 says it's an error with CUDA means that this is more fundamental than kernel abstractions, which is great. That means we have another layer to attack this problem with. Dang it! I was really hoping I could get out of kernel abstractions land and move into CUDA land, because I thought CUDA land would be a bit easier to deal with. Okay, so let me just mess around with this a little bit more. And instead of calling a function here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say seal. I'm double checking here. And then down here, we're going to say seal of x1. Let's run this. So we're going to do Control D, Julia, include test3.jl. Just see if it runs. And then we're going to run the kernel abstractions version, see if that runs, and go from there. If it doesn't work, I don't know what to do, guys. I'm actually kind of I'm poking at it. But the thing is, I don't have particularly, I'm not able to poke at this very well. Okay, so we have that. And so now we're going to comment this back in. Function main, kernel, event, sure. Okay, include. And so this one should presumably break. CUDA kernel is not defined. Right. Using CUDA kernels. Okay, give it a go. See what happens. Okay. Double check this error. It is, yes, JLF tuple. Okay, so what we've confirmed here is that the error is definitely in kernel abstractions, not in CUDA. Great. I guess my question is, why does this call? What does this call? What is this underneath? What is this y equals 1 seal of x1 calling? And what is the kernel abstractions version of that calling? I guess is what I need to figure out. So let's, I guess let's check it out. So I'm just going to I think we have everything available here, right? XD? Yeah, I have it. So what happens if I just run seal of xd1? Performing scalar tasks. Okay, so if I do at, what is it? At edit, maybe? Yeah, let's do edit. Seal. Could not spawn. Why is my basic text editor Emacs? Every time I have to change this. Changing default text editor Julia. Every time I open Julia, I have to change this, and I don't remember how to change it. No, that's not what I wanted at all. I just want, how do I change default text editor? For at edit. This is going to be environment Julia editor and add that to the julia rc.jl file. Okay, so let's go here, vi.julia, Julia, where is the Julia RC file? Maybe it's .julia RC? No, Julia, where would this be? Preferences, maybe? What happens if I just try this over here? Julia, now I run this guy. No, I want Vim. Okay, Control D, Julia, and now what I want to do is at edit 2+2. Dang, it's still trying to do Emacs. Okay, how do I set that for good? Can I just set an environmental variable that is Julia editor to be Atom? So what happens if I do that? Control D, how do I do that? Julia editor equals vi. No, that's not gonna work. Control D. Am I dumb? How do I set environmental variables? Why am I dumb? Environmental variables. Okay, is it export? It's probably export is what I need to do. Export this equals that, right? Julia, edit 2+2. Got it. Okay, so now I just need to put that in my bash RC, which I will not show you guys. There's some limits, and that's my limit. Okay, export Julia editor equals vi. Okay, that should work. Let's go ahead and source some things over here. Control I think I can do this by source. 1 second. Okay. I don't know if this is helpful. Yeah, I'm looking. I thought if I set the environmental variable, in bash RC, it would also see it in Julia, but maybe that's not the case. Probably startup. Yeah. Okay, we can do startup.jl. Let me source bash RC. And then we're just going to run Julia and add edit 2 + 2. Okay, well that worked. So why is it not working over here? Source. Oh, I see why. Okay, so now we're in Julia and add edit 2 + 2. Great. That's exactly what I want to see. Okay, so now let's just rerun this code. So we're going to include this guy, make sure we get the error, and then we're just going to edit some things and see if we can figure out like kind of what the stack is. It's probably a better way to do this. Probably @code lowered is probably what I want. But anyway, I'm going to edit it first. Then I'm going to do @code lowered, and I'm going to try a bunch of different things and see what we can do. I'm not too hopeful, if I'm being honest. I'm not too hopeful at all. But maybe we can get somewhere. Okay, so here's that. Okay, that's our error message. Let's see what we can do. So @edit, and I'm just going to run seal of xd1. This calls a device override base.seal of x float32 is going to be ccall. Okay, so what file am I in? Math functionality, using base fast math. This must be in CUDA, right? So let's do performing scalar indexing on task runnable. Invocation of get index resulted in scalar indexing of GPU array. Okay. This is typically caused by, okay, right. So if we just did it this way, seal dot. Can we run seal dot? Dot expressions are not lowered to a single function call, so @edit cannot analyze them. Right. Okay, you may want to use meta.@lower. Okay, so let's do @lower. Code lowered. Okay, what do we have here? Base.broadcasted main.seal, base.materialize 1. Did that help me at all? The answer is probably not. Let me try doing it without that and do this. And let's see what we got here. Base.convert, CUDA.cFloatX, base.unsaveConvert, CUDA.cFloat, and then we have expression extern nv seal float32. Okay, so what we're doing here is base.broadcasted. Right, because it's broadcasted. How do I get, I'm not going to be able to get, can I get the expression out? How do I get that? EXPR expression, what is this? This should be seal of x1. Okay, so that's that. And then if I evaluate that, and eval EXPR gives us x1 not defined. That's because it's all called XD. But that's how we want to do it. Okay. No method matching seal for Q-array. Perfect. So if we do this again and we do a dot here and then we evaluate that, it should work. Perfect. Okay. So we have the ability to evaluate it, which means we have the ability to turn it into an expression, which means we should have the ability to print out. So what happens if we dump EXPR? This gives us symbol seal. Okay, so this gives us the what do I want to do? I want to output the... I'm trying to output the command, is what I'm trying to output, from the CUDA kernel. So I know I can do like @print in kernel abstractions, and there's probably a printf or something I can do in CUDA, but am I interested in that? Maybe. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see what the difference is between the CUDA call and the kernel abstractions call, because the CUDA call is working, but the kernel abstractions call is not. And so I was trying to see if I could figure out what the difference is between those guys. All right, but I think, look, this is one of those problems. It's just going to take a while to tackle this. I really don't have the appropriate tools to figure out how to do it, but I figure we can at least take a look at it and see how it goes. Again, I don't know how long today's stream is going to be. I'm going to try just to do a bit of a longer stream. I've been trying to do longer streams, but as you guys know, my stream stamina is a bit shoddy right now. So, okay. So what are we going to do next? So we have a val of expression, a one element array. We have the expression that we can write out. We know we can evaluate that expression. My naive, stupid question is, what am I doing with my life? Okay, let's go back over here and let's modify the kernel abstractions function. So first of all, we know that CUDA is working, so I'm not too worried about CUDA. But the kernel abstractions is not. We know it's a call to... Right, so the next thing I want to do is test to see if this is only converts. So what other function? Yeah, so let's think. So let's go to our minimum working example.jl. And let me actually modify this one as well. So we're going to cp mwe.jl into mwe2.jl. All right. I know, it's stupid names. I get it. It's really dumb names. I'm sorry. All of these files will be deleted at the end. I'm looking at this line right here. Okay. And I specifically, I should not have deleted the TID line. vi mwe.jl, and I want the TID. Okay. Let's go into this, and let's put the TID down there. Okay, so we've got our thread ID, and now we're just casting that onto an int32. It's naturally an int64. We're moving it to an int32. That's all we're doing. I'm calling it copy shared, but yeah, we'll keep it the same. This is just I'll rename everything here. So let's rename it from copy shared to function testing or something. S copy shared to ftest cg. Sure. Okay, so that should be fine. Write this, go over here, Control D, run Julia again, and now we're going to do include minimum working example 2.jl. Okay, this should provide an error, assuming that, you know, everything else I've been saying today is correct. This should also provide an error, and it should be a cast from int. Right, that's fine. That's fine. Let's just do function main, and let's not do any tests here. Well, yeah, let's just not do any tests here. Alright, I'm just gonna remove this guy. We can double check later and remove this guy. Okay, let's double check this error, make sure it is the same one that we were expecting, and it looks like it is. We specifically get a 2 int32 from an int64 here. I'm gonna try one more thing, change this to a float 32. Again, we should get the same error, I'm just double checking. The error we got here was, oh, it didn't change the kernel. Give it a second, and let's see what we got. So I keep closing and opening Julia because for some reason it doesn't recompile the kernel abstractions kernels, so I kind of have to do something. Yeah, this is going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky, especially because I didn't write this code base. I'm not saying the code base is poorly written. That passed. But if I change this to int, this one will fail. So it's specifically a cast to an integer. Specifically a cast to an integer. That's the issue in kernel abstractions. Right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and note that down as well in the PR here. So, okay, what do we have here? Up to the top, compilation with error. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to say, I don't know if I should create a new comment or if I should just mention here. I think I'm going to edit the comment that I had before. Edit. And I'm going to say, I think it's only, I tried other conversions and it seems that only converting to an int. Let's see, what if we, 32, well, int. Let's try one more thing. So we're going to do, over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert TID into a floating point and then back into an int64. Okay, let's go over here and we're going to run Control D, Julia include. Yeah, let's just see what happens. What this would mean is that converting to a float is no problem. Converting to an int is a problem, even if it was already an int. And we're converting to float 64 this time instead of int 64 instead of int 32 to check to make sure it's an issue with ints. Interesting though, because if we change this to int 32, okay, we get two calls. So this must do converting to int 32 must first convert to int and then convert to int 32 from there. So it must be a two-step process. Because if you notice the error messages that we got from converting to int 32, we got kind of like 4 blobs, which were 2 separate calls. So the JLF tuple and JL blah, blah, blah. I got stuck on the fan game, so I'm going to work on learning JavaScript. Yeah, good luck, man. I hope it's enjoyable. Right. So this is unsupported call to Julia runtime environment JL get field, inexact error symbol type. Is theirs also in an exact error? Theirs is not in an exact error. Right. Theirs is not. Okay. Okay, but that's fine. So we know it's specifically when casting onto an int. All right, let's go ahead and update the comment. Okay. Right. I'm going to be right back. Give me just a minute. And then, yeah, we're going to keep tackling this. I'm hoping to make some progress today. I don't know what that means, but again, some progress. Should not have done that. All right. Control D. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Give me just 1 minute, and then we'll get back to the error handling and see what we can do. It's gonna be rough. It's been rough, but you know, we'll get there. I'm pretty sure. I feel like this is solvable, you know? So I think we'll get there. Again, if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, anything like that, feel free to let me know, and I'll totally address it as soon as I see it in chat. So, what am I doing? The error message here specifically only happens when you're casting onto an int. So I guess my question is there something weird going on with the cast to an int that doesn't happen with the other casts, right? So let me see. I'm gonna go over here to Julia, which I have over here. Julia, and let me just do @edit float 32 of 1. This calls, ooh, okay. That's a thing. Type 1 T1 X ST sit of P T1 X1. Oh no. To do deprecate in 2.0? All right, let's see int 32. Int 32, built-in ints to int 32, right? It is definitely calling to int 32. I might want to run a git blame on this one. See if there's something different between the latest Julia version and older Julia versions. In fact, now that we know that kernel abstractions is working, maybe I just try the same code, but in Julia 1.4. I'm going to add the latest version of kernel abstractions. And now I'm going to do st. Yep, looks fine to me. And let's just run the same code. And let's see if we get the same error. So this is a really old version of Julia that came out like last year or something. And I'm going to see if there's something weird with the Julia intrinsics, which caused, you know, like the function call to no longer work, right? Because right now if you @edit, it's running this toInt32 function, and it will call the toInt64 function as well, which we saw in the backtrace. So give it a second. Okay, load error. Okay, this is definitely a different error message. Got unsupported keyword argument launch. Closest candidates are what? Want to become famous? Buy followers, prime viewers on bigfollows.com. No thanks, you. I mean, I appreciate the offer, man, but no thanks. Let's see. How do I? Wait. How do I do this? Perfect. All right. All right. So, it's been a long time since I banned someone, but just did it. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just timed them out. Now I'm feeling bad, but screw it. I did it. It's too late to go back on that one. If I get any backlash for banning someone who was clearly spamming in chat. Look, I don't know what to say. Okay. Keyword argument, error, expression starting at histograms, line 46. Right. This is definitely a different error message. You know, I could try 1.5. Maybe it's just a bot. I'm sure it's just a bot. We don't get too much spam in this channel, if I'm being honest. Part of that's because it's a small channel. Let's see, what do we have here? Execution.jl, execution.jl, CUDA call, execution.jl 199, execution 171, 347. Let's see, Julia packages CUDA. Where are we? CUDA kernels 192. Then we're doing ftest. Okay. Let me check CUDA kernels 192. Let's go over here. Quit. D. CD projects. Kernel abstractions. ls here. And is this... Okay, well, let's just run the code and see if it actually runs without this here. So we're just going to run this. go over here, Control D, run Julia 1.4, and run this. This is the simplest example that we could possibly have. If this doesn't run, then we just can't run kernel abstractions on Julia 1.4. That's just how it is. It might be a minimum dependency of 1.6 or something. Right. But see, the thing is, I know that kernel abstractions was working on Julia 1.4 or 1.5. What do we require? What did we require with Klima? Okay, so here's that error. Should I just try to download Julia 1.5? Klima.caltech.edu. Let me see if I can just grab the code. Our team workshops, publications for students, press, media, blog. Let's see what we got. Let's go to Climate Machine. Let's go to documentation. And we're going to go to getting started, installation. And they say version Julia 1.5. And we want to grab version 1.5 from here. Okay. All right. I will now grab a new executable for Julia, which is Julia 1.5, and see if this error message still propagates in Julia 1.5, or if this is something that changed from the transition from Julia 1.5 to 1.6. Right. So where are the older versions? Where are we? Platform-specific instructions, long-term support. I mean, we could do Julia 1, but I think it's only available on 1.5. Wait, where do we grab them? Please consider starting us on GitHub. We provide several ways for you to run Julia. Upcoming 1.7. Ho ho. Getting crazy. Older releases, nightly builds, download verification, JSON release. Okay. So maybe the reason that it works on Klima is simply because the Climate Machine is running on Julia 1.5, and that's why. Let me look for other versions of Julia H, which can be downloaded via your package manager or from the Julia website. Right. So where are the older binaries? Upcoming release, older releases page. There we go. 1.5.4 should be fine. Let's grab the generic Linux 64-bit. Sure. Sure. Downloads. Let's do it. Okay. Let's grab this and work with it. Okay. CD builds. Go ahead and move downloads. Julia. Oh no, I have 1.4 and 1.5. Here. Sorry, there. LS here. tar xvzf Julia 1.5 here. Okay. Let's go over here then. I think we've already gotten the tarball, so now we're going to run /builds Julia 1.5.4 bin, I believe, Julia. Okay, now we're going to run add kernel abstractions, probably CUDA as well, and let's try running the code. See what happens. Okay, we got that running, so now we're going to include minimum working example 2.jl. Give it a second to precompile everything. It's going to download CUDA 11 again, I'm sure. I will have 6 CUDA 11 installations on my computer, which is, it is what it is. Give it a second. But if this works on Julia 1.5, potentially, if this works on Julia 1.5, I really should make sure that it still works on Julia 1.6. I know everything on Julia 1.8 is broken for kernel abstractions. It's just such a pain. The problem with kernel abstractions is people keep breaking things upstream, and so then you have to deal with it downstream as well, and it's very difficult to figure out what they changed. So give it a second to do the pre-compilation. Again, guys, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, anything like that, feel free to let me know. Add CUDA kernels. I don't think I need to do that. I think the issue was, yeah, that I have this here and it should be there. Yeah, okay. Try it again, include minimum working example 2.jl, because I think CUDA kernel comes with kernel abstractions, so. Okay, how's everyone doing? Oh well, we're gonna give this a second to run. It's pre-compiling kernel abstractions now, so pre-compiling CUDA kernels now. And then we're gonna see if it gives us an error. Oh no, it says incremental compilation might be fatally broken for this module. What? Oh, I see what happened. Okay, because I ran it twice. Okay, I'm going to have to close Julia and open it back up again. Even if we don't get an error message, I still need to do that because I think it like loaded some sort of cassette stuff and then broke. There was some sort of dependency weirdness going on, so that's okay. This is now my, sixth installation of CUDA 11 on this computer? I don't mean to brag, but I've got way more CUDA 11 versions than probably anyone else in chat. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just gonna, like, right now we're just kind of figuring out what the issue is. Probably there was just an issue or a change in how, like, integers were cast from like Julia 1.5 to Julia 1.6 or something. And so that's what I want to check. Yeah, I don't know. But if it works on Julia 1.5, then I should mention that in both the issues and just say for now a fix is just running Julia 1.5, which can be downloaded here. But this should be fixed at some point in the future. Again, I'm not super confident that it will work with Julia 1.5, but we'll see. Give it a second to finish the build. And yeah, some people collect stamps or Pokemon cards, but you collect CUDA 11s? Man, just let me do this really quick. du-h of my .julia directory. It is 17 gigabytes. My .julia directory is 17 gigabytes because I have so many freaking installations of CUDA 11. It's insane. Like, every single version of Julia has downloaded its own version of CUDA 11. And I have, Julia 1.4, Julia 1.6, two different Julia 1.6s, now Julia 1.5, and Julia 1.8 dev. And then, of course, I've got the CUDA 11 installation that's on my system naturally because I have CUDA because I use GPUs. So it's actually really sad. NVCC double dash version. What do I have? CUDA 11.4. That's what I have on my system. It's really insane. I mean, how much system df-h? I, genuinely speaking, I only have, I have 1 terabyte of data available. Julia is using, I don't know, Julia is using a lot of it just for CUDA installs. No Julia Vuda there yet. What do you mean, no Julia CUDA there? It's using the CUDA PTX stuff in the background, so, okay, but once this is all working, I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get rid of the Julia 1.4 installation. Okay, so Control D, builds, include minimum working example 2.jl. How many times do you use GC in Julia? Not sometimes. It really depends. So the problem is garbage collection on GPUs is just bad. It's just not very good. Whoever thought having like manual garbage collection in Julia was a good idea, I'm sorry, manual garbage collection, automatic garbage collection in Julia was a good idea. I really don't like. I like manual. I like managing my own memory, is what I'm trying to say. I enjoy managing my own memory. I don't like the fact that it's covered by a garbage collector. I feel like that hurts performance. But whatever, Okay, so now we're going to put this line back in and see if it breaks. Right. Okay, so this broke, but it's a different error than the previous one. Let's see. Oh, this is actually the same error. Call to JLF tuple. Wonderful. Okay. Oh wait, the package garbage collector does something different. Okay, so let me check the 1.4 version again. Get that error. Again, I don't think it's the same call to JLF tuple, but I'm going to check. Oh, it is definitely a different error. I agree and would love to have manual way to do garbage collection in Julia. Yeah, I just... I don't mind that the garbage collector is there. I just feel like it's so weird that like whenever I'm implementing an algorithm, I have to think about this, you know? Like if I was doing manual memory management, it's easy. I know exactly what to do with my memory. But now that I have to deal with it in Julia, it's like, oh, wait, I can't run this because I know it's not going to work because, you know. Okay, let me go ahead and clear off my Julia 1.4 binary. I don't need it anymore. So we're going to cd into builds, L is here. And then we're just going to remove -r, Julia -1.42 star. Yes. Oh no. All right. I think I can also remove Julia 1.6. So sudo remove -r Julia -1.6.0 star sudo rm-rm. L is here, and then the last thing, I think I can also remove the Julia version I just downloaded because, quite frankly, it didn't work. It gave us the same error on Julia 1.5. So if it gave us the same error on Julia 1.5, I believe it's going to give us the same error anywhere. So cd into .julia, but I'll leave it here for now. L is here, cd clones. Nope. cd packages. cd CUDA? Oh no. Ah, geez, du dash. Here's what I'm gonna do, guys. Just deleting it. Okay. Just I hated having like completely useless packages on my computer. Okay, let's do Julia 1.4. All right, right, because I've removed the binary. Okay, let me also go into my bashrc file. And remove this and remove that. Perfect. Okay. So now everything should be fine. Let me just replicate the error that I was getting before. Yeah, so Julia. Right, include, I'm gonna have to do add CUDA kernel abstractions. Yes, I know, I've done this a lot. I've downloaded CUDA a lot, but I prefer having to like, you know, build everything from scratch to having 17 gigabytes of wasted space in my .julia directory, you know? Yeah, it's a pain. Did the chat break or just the last message? Wait. I don't know. I'm not seeing any breaks. Am I wrong? Yeah, go ahead and repeat the last message. Sorry that sorry about the issues. Include minimum working example 2.jl. Okay, so what we know then is that this error does propagate itself through Julia 1.5. Add CUDA kernels. So that's good in a way. Yeah, it's good in a way. Yep. I actually don't know how to fix this then. I genuinely don't. Okay, so we're gonna do minimum working example again here. I thought maybe downgrading to Julia 1.5 would solve the issue. I said the good old days of C89, but it never showed up on your chat. Huh. Well, it's a good comment, but huh. Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, do you have to do manual memory management in Fortran as well? I don't remember. It's been so long, but of course we're downloading CUDA again. It's fine. Why do you want to use Project Activate? Manage the packages there. Because I just don't. Creating a project in Julia is a pain. That's why. And I don't have a project file to work with here. It's just a bunch of scraps that I'm testing on. So it's like a single run file. It's not like a I see what you're saying, right? Like we could do, yeah, right. So I could create, yeah, I just don't like that. It's a mess. I just don't want to do that if I don't have to. I should do that, but like I definitely should do that for other stuff. Yeah. Anyway, let's just see what happens. Yeah, I'm quite lost here, like really lost here. I knew I'd be lost here though. Like, this is something that I should know about, but I don't. Okay, but what we've confirmed is that Julia 1.5 also has this error. Julia 1.7 probably has this error. Julia 1.8 can't run kernel abstractions at all for other reasons, and we found that out yesterday. Here's the error message that we had a second ago, which is unsupported call to JLF tuple. And then we have this one down here, which is also unsupported call to JLF get field. Now the one difference is that when we go to the remove, when we go to the here, these guys' error message, they also get the inexact error. Great, that's what I wanted to see. Now, does this one also get the inexact error? It does, the inexact error here. Is this the same inexact error? Type int32, type int32 from float32, int32 from float32. Mine is int32 from float64. CD projects histograms. Simuleos histograms, vi mwe2 .jl. And now we're going to do int32 float64. So let me change this. So it's int32 from int64. Any conversion to int32 is the issue. Include mwe2. Now, is it an issue if you do... It was not an issue with int64, if I remember correctly. It was just int32. Let me double check that as well. I'm sorry. I'm greatly forgetting like everything that we just did. So let me double check to make sure that we can convert to int64. It's literally just int32 that's the problem. Float64. All right, write that. Control D, Julia mwe2.jl. Double checking. I think it's any conversion to an integer at all, but it's not a conversion to a float. So I think int64 should also grab it. I'm going to assume int16 also grabs it. Let me double check their error messages in here. So they have cassette overdub, float.jl, macro, boot. Okay, and what do we have? We have... boot, inexact error, type int64, float64, perfect. But they've got some other stuff on theirs that I don't understand. So they've got seal, that's because they're calling the seal command, right. Okay, so this one should be the exact same, like literally the exact same. It's the same, that's because it's 254 as well. That would explain it. Let me see, up a bit. But it actually does look identical. I think these are the exact same calls, except one's going to int64, the other is going to int32. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now, what they have that I don't, I have a specific call to... No, I don't. Interesting. So what happens if I change this to int32? Control D, Julia. Run it one more time. Let's see what happens. Okay, let me move for just a second. Okay. Fortran is manual memory as far as I remember. Yeah, I just don't remember at all. It's been such a long time. Okay, so let me scroll up. This guy is inexact error type 32 int32 float 64. All right, let me edit some things as well, just to see what we got here. See if the command for int32 has changed or something. Okay, so we're gonna do edit int32 1.0. What 11.0 is also fine. And this is gonna give us this guy. It's defined for all integers. So let me do float 32. This gives us this guy, and we have fp trunk. Float 32, float 64 gives us fp ext. What if we do int 64? Oh, wait, this is going to be 11. I see. So there's a separate call when you're going from floats to ints and ints to floats than there are if you're going from one float to another float, or one int to another float, one int to another int. So let me try the int to int. Oops. Okay, so any conversion to integer is broken. That's what we're learning here. Any conversion to an integer is broken. Now the question is, if this error message when you're converting from an integer to an integer is different, and if that gives us any information. I don't think that gives us too much information. But we know that any conversion to an integer is broken, so let's take a look at converting to integers. And this is actually a different error message. Right, here we have int32 from int64, and we have two int32 from int64. Perfect. How are you feeling today? I'm doing okay. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. Two int32, int32, right. So actually, this is interesting to some extent. The conversion from an integer to another integer of like a different type, so from 64 to 32, will give you a different error. Real dimension m matrix. Now you remember. Wait, do you want to try to convert it to something else? Like maybe convert it to oh right, now I remember. That's Fortran. I remember exactly. At the start of every block, you need to say, we have this, and then you have to specify if it's in, out, and then you also have to specify, yeah, I remember that exactly now. Good old times. Kind of like old school C as well. Right, but the reason I didn't think of it as manual memory management is because you don't have the free command, if I remember correctly. It's just all specified at the start of every function block. Or a subroutine or whatever. Okay, good. So we know that we get two different error messages if we convert from int64 to int32, or if we convert from float to int. We know that these are calling the same macros.jl line 80, and right now we need to figure out why that is. So let's go there. And we have to figure out why specifically integers are breaking. Floats are totally fine. If you convert from an int to a float, it's fine. But if you convert a float to an int, it's broken. That's what we need to figure out. I really don't know. So we transform GPU. This is a line that's breaking. And it's breaking because JLF get field. Unsupported call to the Julia runtime. Can I just do... Let me try something else. Let me do int32 here. Because there is one other thing that could be happening here, and that could be that the assignment operator this is also going to trigger the assignment operator. What if I do a of 1? This is really dumb, but I'm just double checking. Because it could be triggering something weird in the creation. I don't know. I'm just double checking that this is also going to give us the same error. Yeah, right. Because it could be doing something weird because we're like creating a variable. Like, so, you know, we're basically allocating some data. Oh, no matching index global linear. True, there's no free, but it is deallocated by scope. But usually people use underlying C to manage the memory, which makes it really mess. Oh yeah, no doubt. Method error, no method matching, index global linear. Well, this is a different error, which I don't want to deal with right now. And I don't understand what the problem is. It is A of 1. Whatever, screw it. Just screw it. I mean, probably I'm digging too much anyway. Probably I have all the answers I need already. I just haven't put them together yet. Control C, Control D, Julia. We're going to give this another, I don't know, maybe hour of just kind of messing around. Yeah, I'm going to give this one more hour. If I can't figure this out in the next hour, I'm just going to say, hey, look, it only happens on conversion to ints, and that's about all I found today. But if it feels like, basically, I'm going to stop doing this the moment it feels like I'm not getting anywhere. That's what's going to happen. Let me go over here as well. Just mention something. 1 second. One second. Okay. What are you trying to do? I came in just recently. Yeah, so right now we're trying to write a kernel and have the ability to convert an int64 to an int32 in the kernel. That's all we're trying to do. It's currently a bug with kernel abstractions where anytime you try to convert to an integer value, it breaks. That's currently what we're trying to fix. So I'm kind of like going through and trying to figure out where the problem is. This is relatively new, as in it came out earlier this year, but no one's been able to fix it yet. So I've just been kind of digging and seeing if we can find, I don't know, any further information on it, you know? Again, I'm not the best at this kind of stuff, but I'm just trying to, take it one step at a time and see where we can go. I just sent a message to my friend letting him know that it's only on conversion to an int that we run into this issue. Any other conversions work just fine, which means there must be something wrong or something weird about the conversion to an int. So let me do @edit. If I do int32 of 1, I'm going to get this guy here, which is simply 2int32 of x int32. But if I do float32 of 1.0, we're going to get float32 and we get fp trunk, and it's float32x. Oh. Wait a minute. This only takes one argument. The other one takes in 2 arguments. That could be the issue. Let me do @edit of int32 of 1.0. This takes in, it also only takes in 1 argument, I think. And float32 of 1 takes in 2 arguments. Perfect. Okay, so that's the issue. The issue is that for some reason the int call only takes in 1 argument now. I don't know when that change happened or if it's always been that way, but I think that's the issue. I think the issue is that, I think that's the issue. Okay, so how does that help us? Why does @edit never use that? Wait, what do you mean? So @edit will open up the source code for that particular call. So this is where it's defined. So it's defined on float.jl line, to whatever line this is. So it opens up your text editor and shows where it is in the source code that this is being run. So yeah, I was just double checking. And again, it does seem like we're only accepting 1 argument here. What we can do is we can create a kernel abstractions like version of toInt or whatever, which will convert any double valued function call into a single valued function call or something. Let me see, but that's kind of messy. Because kernel abstractions here. Right. So let's do fixing shmem. That's that one. Where am I? Here I am. Perfect. So we have transformed GPU. Let me see what the actual error message is. Let's take a look at that one more time. Control D, Julia, and we're gonna run include minimum working example 2.jl and see what we got in Vim. Cool. Yeah. So I specifically actually earlier in stream set up my default editor for Julia to be Vim, well VI, but you know so. It's for some reason default to Emacs. I'm not sure if that's because my system defaults to Emacs or something else. I'm really not sure. Okay, look, I feel like we made some progress there. I feel like we figured something out. The only difference between the function call 1 and function call 2 is that 1 takes 2 arguments. So here we're throwing the inexact error symbol type int2 int64. So, right, that's the issue. I'm not as hardcore, so I prefer Vim. Totally fair. I mean, like, honestly, I think everyone should prefer Vim to VI. I just use it because... I don't know, I just use it because that's what I use. So what I'm going to try next is changing this from int32 to convert to int32 TIV. I think this one's also going to break, but I'm just double checking. Julia, and we're going to run include MWE. Am I using that right? Inexact error. Okay. This should give us the same error as before. Note that it's still calling toInt in the background. Throw inexact error. And this is a slightly different inexact error. Let me see. No, we're not going to be able to replicate it, I don't think, on the CPU, are we? Can we? Can we try to replicate this error on the CPU? Throw inexact error? I mean, we have it right here, right? This is also inexact error of int3211. So what if we do int32 of... What are the arguments that we need for floating point? Let's see. So I have so many terminals up. I'm so sorry. Let me move over to this guy over here. Clear. And now it's on Julia. CD projects, histogram, simuleos, histogram. Now let's here. Now let's run Julia. At edit, float 64.1. Okay, this takes sit of p. All right, sit of p. There. It's only there. Okay, wonderful. Right. This is in float.jl. Where are we defining sit of p? Maybe I have to look at go into the Julia source code for that. Give me a second. But if we do this 1.0, it takes in. Where are we? Oh, is that because it's already a float 64? Yeah, it's already a float 64. Changes float 32. Okay. This takes float 32. Float 32 of x, a float 64, is calling fp trunk a float 32x. Okay, so then what I want to do is find fp trunk. Okay, right, of course. Yeah, that's what I thought. They're only here. Wonderful, okay. But we know what's happening here. So it's calling that. So now what I want to try is at code lowered of the same call, float 32 of 1.0. Yes, base.fp trunk. Perfect. So now if I do the same for int32, it's going to do, let's just do 1. Okay, this is going to be core.toInt of x. All right, great. And the type assert, wonderful. Okay. This is because, let's try int16. Right. Okay, but the good news here is that we are clearly seeing that toInt16, toInt32 take a single argument. Let me see what we have down here. Unsafe truncate, it takes base.unsafe truncate. Now that's an interesting one. So what does this one do? So it takes negative 2.147. I don't understand that one. It says go to 3. If x is less than 2.1474, I don't fully understand that. E to the 9th. Oh, e to the 9th. Okay, so this is like, that's the highest number that you can fit. Or lowest number you can fit? This is a maximum of probably 2 to the 32. It is not. Oh, it's 2 to the 31. Because they need a sign bit. Perfect. Okay, right. Because they need a sign bit. Wonderful. So this is as much as you can hold with the sign bit. Great. And it says if it is less than or equal to, which means it must be some sort of float 64 value, we're going to go here. Anyway, we'll figure that out. So base round to 0. Then we say that's going to be equal to x. And then we say base.unsafe truncate of int32 x. Of int32 x. Okay, now we're going to do base.inexact error of int32 int32 x. And base.throw. Base.throw 12. Well, we are getting the inexact error. I think that's the error that we're seeing, right? So let's do the same thing. Yeah, code lowered for int 32. I don't know. What are we gonna try here? Okay, let's take a look over here and see if we can figure out the problem. So the def and constant arguments. So how does this pull stuff in? So let's constant arguments equals expression. Can I just print stuff? Maybe I should just print stuff here. Just print what def is, print what constant arguments are, print how transform GPU is actually being used in context. So that's the next step. Figure out how that's being used. But I think we figured out the problem. The problem is that ints take fundamentally one argument, whereas floats take 2 arguments. So let's see, CD projects, kernel abstractions, L is here, git pull, upstream, git checkout master. All right, git pull, upstream, master. Okay, git stash. Has he become a fractal yet? No, I have not. Sorry about that. We are at the very beginning stages here. It's going to take another month or 2 of work to get there. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've got that working. The next thing I'm going to do is grep-rl. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for transform GPU. Of course, cd source, macros, vi, macros.jl, transform GPU, transform GPU is used here and it's used there. Okay. So what do we have happening here? This is function kernel. Okay. So we have some sort of expression and we're going to split the definition of expression. So what does split def do? Split def is here from macro tools. Okay, Julia using, let's see, is macro tools something in Julia? Let's see. Okay, so what does split def do? Using macro tools, and let's just do question of split def. All right, this does match any function definition. So function name parameters, keyword arguments are type where params. Okay, so we're just going to define a function. Function f of x, x plus equals 5 end. All right, so now we're going to do split def on f. Not a function definition. F of x of 1. What is a function definition? What if we do split def of f of x equals x plus 5? Okay. G of x? Let's look for macro tools and see if we can find some examples. FluxML, macrotools.jl. Let's look for docs. And now we're going to do, we have a quote. What am I looking for? Split def. Utilities. All right. Split def. Split def definition. Okay, so function name, args, keywords, rtype, where. More generally, it's also possible to use split def and combine def to handle the full range of function syntax. So function name, args, keyword, arguments, rtype, where params, body. And returns dictionary of name, args, etc. Okay, so match the function definition of the form here. Okay, so if I just, how do I use that? If I put that into a quote, is that how that works? Okay, so see how it's working in kernel abstractions here. So we use split def there, and then we have over here, we have def. It's going to be split def of expression. Okay, so the kernel is all being read in as a giant expression, and then we're splitting it up, is what we're doing with split def. And then def, name, and name is going to be, where's the dictionary? Name is here, so that's the name of the function. And the other thing we're taking is the arguments of the function. Perfect, okay. That's all I really needed to know there. So we're taking the name and the arguments of the function. Now, does this work recursively on everything in the function? Is this a set of all? This must be the set of all. What does this do? So function underscore kernel is going to take our expression. I guess this takes any expression, but let me double check. So let's do cd backer directory grep-rl underscore kernel. Okay, it's kernel abstractions.jl. vi cd source vi kernel abstractions.jl, and let's look for kernel. Here, macro kernel expression. Okay, right. So the @kernel is going to be a macro that will just run kernel on expression. So it runs kernel on the function definition. So this is the outermost. So underscore kernel takes the outermost function. So you're going to run @kernel function, and then we're going to split that up into the function name and the function definitions. Okay. Okay, so find return expression. Return statement not permitted in a kernel function name. Okay, fine. Yeah, we just see if there's a return. That's okay. Constant arguments. What are we doing here? So here we're saying we have an array of booleans, undefined length of arguments. Okay. And essentially what we're doing then is I think we're turning all of them into constant arguments. So for I in arguments and enumerate, if is expression of argument macro call. Then we say if args.args is equal to symbol of @const. Okay, so if there's an @const in there, perfect. Then we say args of I is equal to args of 3. So we're stripping the @const, and then we're turning it into a constant argument. Right, okay. So this is basically creating an array and asking, hey, is this argument supposed to be a constant or not? Fine. Okay, so we create two functions. One is going to be a GPU function, the other is going to be a CPU function with workgroup loops inserted. Without the deep copy, we might accidentally modify expression shared between CPU and GPU. Okay, so definition CPU, definition GPU is a deep copy of def, where def is the function names, or the function, the full function. So now we do def CPU is going to be equal to name, a CPU name. So this is us moving it onto the CPU. And essentially all we're doing is we're appending. Are we appending? Symbol of, I think we are. I think we're appending GPU underscore to change the symbol. So change the function that we're working with here. Okay. So we have transform CPU, transform GPU. This is where the error comes in. Yeah, this is where the error comes in. So let's go down to transform GPU. All right, it's down here. We're going to let constant arguments is equal to expression, and then we're going to say for I in argument in enumerate, definition of arguments. So this is going through. Okay, my question is, what happens if you have a function inside of a function? I think. So for I in argument in enumerate def of arguments, if constant arguments I, then we push let constant arguments of argument constify. Yeah, so all this is doing is ensuring that the arguments that are constant or are named as constant remain constant. We're going to push first def args context, and the body is equal to quote with a if valid index context def body. Let me check something. What happens if I just do grep -rl int 32? I didn't think that exists. Okay, I tried. Okay, transform CPU and GPU. Here we are. So we do body is equal to quote. We say if valid index context def body end return nothing. The def body is equal to expression let. Okay, so I think this is where I have to throw in the towel and just say, look, I don't understand this. The only thing I can think of is that, underlying the, yeah, I might need to throw in the towel here. I'm going to send some messages to some people who might actually know what's going on. That might be, one of my friends. I might also contact one of the main developers of the CUDA package and just see what we can get. But I mean, we've done some digging, and I'm actually not sure where to go from here. So I'm gonna head off, and I'm gonna try to figure this out off the stream. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, morning, evening, whatever time it happens to be your time. I may actually be back later today if I can get this figured out. But this is my primary goal for today, to get this figured out. So thanks again, guys, and I think I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.